Thank you for joining us on Sheridan County Ag Update. Today I have with me world champion Bobby Harris, who is now the Sheridan College Rodeo coach. Thanks for joining me.
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
You bet. Want to say a quick shout out to our sponsors, Heartland Kubota and True Built Builders. We appreciate you being a sponsor of the show. So it's a little chilly this morning.
It is Wyoming in February, so it's just
about
it's
right.
what it is, you know. I don't know why people are surprised. That's what we're supposed to have.
Yeah. Well, and we have a lot of snow this year compared to last year, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So, well, let's talk about it. You are now officially the Sheridan College Rodeo coach. So, congratulations.
Thank you. It's an honor to be the coach, and really excited about what's in front of the program.
Good. And so you were just telling me you're going to buck horses this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So about how many horses do you buck when you practice?
Well, we have 3 students right now on the rodeo team that ride broncs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we welcome, other college kids. We kind of share, between Gillette and Casper. When they buck, we'll go down there and they'll come up here. So today it looks like we'll probably have 7 to 8 kids that are coming.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a high school boy coming from KC, and another boy from Casper called me last night, and 2 boys from Gillette College are coming, and then our 3.
Okay.
Unless somebody else shows up, but that's kind of what we're looking at. Yeah.
So do you guys have bucking horses of your own, or do you get some from the contractors as practice horses?
Yeah, we're using Wade Sankey right now. He brings them down. He bucks some colts, and then he's got some older horses that they use with him, and it works really nice. So, yeah, we have good sessions. Like last Wednesday, we bucked 25 head of horses.
Oh, wow.
So that's a lot of horses.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. Everyone's getting on and improving. Ian McGivney's helping with the boys right now.
Okay.
Dean Schlottman's come over and helped with them. So we're rocking and rolling.
Well, and what a kind of a cool thing, Zane Garstead and I were talking about it, that, I mean, I remember when Dean came to college here, and now you have his son on your team. So what a fun thing for Dean to be able to come back and do as well.
Yeah, and it's a lot of these kids that are going to school here had been to some of my team roping schools before.
Okay.
So before I ever come here, I knew some of them. Like some of them, I started them roping. They'd never roped before until they'd been to one of my schools. Okay. So it kind of, my touch reaches wide from my schools. I know a lot of people.
Right.
So.
Right. And how many timed event guys and girls do you have then?
Well, we don't. We just have the 3 rough stock boys, and then we have 8 girls.
Okay.
So it's a small group, but I've been out there recruiting, and we're looking, we'll possibly have 30 to 40 kids next year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's really grown. Had a lot of interest. So it's been exciting.
Yeah.
And we're just getting going too.
Yeah. Well, how nice now that you also have the indoor arena. I remember back in the day when there wasn't one here, we had quite a few at our house, but it's great to be able to have that to utilize for your practices and to get ready to go.
Well, yeah. And it's, it's the college's barn. It was built for the college. So it's really good getting it rolling again, getting things, kind of cleaned up, straightened around the way we want it. And it's just going well. The kids, when I came in here, I told them, I said, your education's first. You have to do your education, and then we'll rodeo behind that. So, things are looking good. Things are really looking up.
Good. I suppose when you go to Casper College to practice, you probably practice on Forbes horses, huh?
Oh, yeah.
With Sandy Bob being down there.
Well, and we're going to have John back up here next year, too.
Oh, great.
Him and Wade are going to share time.
That'll be
and then
nice.
we're going to buck twice a week next fall. Because we have... I've already recruited 3 more bronc riders, and I got another one coming in today to look. So we'll have 7 that I know of already to come and ride broncs next year. So, yeah, we're going to buck them twice a week, and I got John coming back, and Wade will come back, and it'll be really good.
Well, good. And I suppose you got quite a few team ropers coming then that have been to your schools.
Well, you know what? It's funny with the boys. The boys are different than the girls. The girls... I've had more girls.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Because of the breakaway and wanting to grow in the roping part. So they're ready. They're really eager. And then recruiting some certain girls that I wanted. The boys already think they're good. Okay. So as we all know, so I got some good boys coming, and, and that's fine. Whatever they want to do. It's like I tell them, if you want to come you're going to go to school. You're not coming here just to rope. And you're going to go to school, and I'll teach you how to rope and teach you how to win, and we'll go forward. But if you go somewhere else, that's okay too.
Well, and I think you just touched on something that we talked about a ton in my household growing up, is teaching someone how to win.
Yeah.
You can be a roper and you can ride broncs and you can do, but to be a winner with your academics and in the rodeo arena, it's...
Well, and as everyone thinking it's just in the arena, it's winning at life. Is what you're trying to win at life. You're trying to find some peace, trying to be happy, trying to enjoy each day. You know, it's a struggle out there. You know, it's tough. You know, life's tough. So, you know, and the kids being prepared when they leave school, they have a degree so they can fall back on and still go do your dreams and do what you want to do. But being prepared is huge for these kids. You know, a lot of them, you know, they think they're all going to be world's champions at one time or whatever. And I can promise you that's a tough road. Yeah. And very few people win it, you know. So I don't even know what the numbers are, but from the 40s on, there's not very many world's champion team ropers because it doesn't roll over that much.
No.
So,
no.
And other events too. So it's just it's tough. Barrel racing, you have to have a really good horse. You have to have some brakes. Rough stock riding, you have to have a little natural talent that goes with it. I mean, hard work still beats a person that has talent that don't work. But, you know, that's just, so that's what we're doing with this school. We're preparing these kids for life with getting a degree.
Well, and in this day and age, just having a degree, whether you go into it or not. I mean, I went into ag business and here I am in radio. Yeah. So it's, you know, I mean, if you just have something to fall back on, even if it doesn't work out.
Because even through any of your degrees, you've gone through your English, your math, you're communicating, you know, it doesn't mean that's the avenue you're going to go. It just means that you've prepared yourself through some things. You know, I honestly think that the biggest thing everyone should teach is, you know, your simple math accounting. You know, bookkeeping of yourself. I think that's one of the biggest things everyone needs to go through, you know, and instead of being on the red side of your checkbook, be on the black side of it, you know, and the credit card deal out here is really a scary deal because, you know, they send them to anybody and then they'll say 0% interest on them. And after 12 months, then it jumps to 28% to 30%, you know, and then they got you. So, you know, some of these things are just, you know, hopefully these kids will look forward, and that's what I'm trying to get them to see. You know, when you go rodeoing, it's you got gas, you got tires, you got all this expense that you got to make sure you can cover.
Very few of the guys rodeoing have the sponsors behind them.
Well, you know, nowadays these sponsors have come around a little bit more, but I've always, and myself, heck, I use my sponsor money to keep going also. But the thing I try to get them to understand is if you have a sponsor, unless it's like a gas card, or a tire card or something like that. You know, if you get a large amount of money for a sponsorship, you need to take that money and invest it. It shouldn't be used to make your rodeo and go.
Right.
All right? Because any business, if your business is rodeo, your rodeoing should pay for it. That's the tough part. Because now everything is so expensive. The rough stock riders can make really good money because they can still put 4 or 5 guys in a rig and go. Less expense still. But you take a timed event person, barrel, I don't care which one it is, their outfit's $100,000 for a pickup, $150,000 for a trailer, and $100,000 for a horse. That's quite a bit of money right there. So now you have to win quite a bit to pay for it. So you just gotta, have your ducks in a row and know where you're at and what you're doing. And there's lots of different avenues of rodeo other than just being a pro rodeo cowboy. You know, you have your good amateur associations, you got your circuits, you got your local jackpots, you got so many avenues you can still rodeo and enjoy that people, you know, that's one thing, like the Wrangler Ropes. People like going to the Wrangler Ropes or the World Series. So, you know, those are all good avenues that you can pursue. The barrel racings, they have barrel racings all over the country now, and the breakaways coming along. And so, I mean, you don't have to be gone all the time. You can rodeo on the weekend and still enjoy your rodeo career.
Quality Kubota machinery and customer care from the heart. Proudly serving Sheridan and the surrounding area since 1996. Go online to heartlandkubota.com or stop by Heartland Kubota, 2450 Heartland Drive.
So speaking of the breakaway, that's really taken off. It's really, and you're seeing it now at more pro rodeos. You always saw it at the high school and the college level. What do you think has made the breakaway become such a big thing now?
Well, Breakaway is an amateur high school rodeo deal, college deal, and that was all fine. And they come in and have them at the pro rodeos, which is just another avenue to get people into your town. Okay, so that's what a rodeo is about, getting people into your town for entertainment. It's good. It's wonderful for them. They've got a lot of rodeos they can do it at. I believe they've got the best venue there is for them at Las Vegas to go and rope for 2 days, and then they got 3 or 4 jackpots you can go to out there. You know, I know that when you go to the NFR and you're roping in the Thomas and Mack, you can't go to another roping. You can't go anywhere else. You have to be there. You can't compete.
Oh, really?
Your horse can't compete. You can't compete. So you're there. And I know they all say they want to be in the Thomas and Mack, but sometimes you got to be careful what you wish for, because they got a great venue right now. They got where they rope in 2 days, and then they got 3 or 4 ropings they can rope out. I'll pay $20,000. That's really a nice deal because, you know, I've roped at Las Vegas and not done very good. And you can't wait to leave that town.
I'm sure.
Stay there for 2 weeks, and then things aren't going your way, and you have to wait to run another cat or steer. Believe me, I've been there, and you can't wait to get out of there. It's the worst place you could be. Now, if you're winning, you want to stay there and keep going as much as you want to. But the bottom line to this whole deal is it's about making a living. Okay, so no matter what you do, and then the other thing they'll run into at Vegas that it's already a sellout. You know, the seats are already sold out.
Right.
You know, so what does it bring? Like, we're going to sell more tickets? No. So I really think that they have a really good venue and can grow it and make it better and better and better for them, right, with what they're doing. And plus at the rodeos, if, you know, they keep growing like that, you know, they've got a really good deal going, you know. But, you know, you never know what happens. You never know what'll change down the road. Rodeo's always changing, whatever they're doing. I've heard some different concepts, what they're going to maybe possibly do in the future to crown a world's champion. But, you know, if that goes through or not, you don't know. It's kind of hearsay. You don't really know. Gossip over the wind blowing. So, you know, but, you know, Breakaway's been huge. And it's huge here. Our girls in the college are huge. We've got 100 breakaway ropers in our region. I know down in Texas, I believe they have close to 200 at each rodeo. So, yeah, and kids are growing, and that's awesome. It's wonderful that it's going on right there. You know, they just worry about the NFR, and I think that's the least thing you need to worry about, because you're doing so many other things where you can make some money. Yeah. You know, so.
Well, and growing up with rodeo, of course, you know, when people see it on TV, they always just saw the barrel racers as part of the rodeo. But I think it's opened up a whole new world for a lot of these young ladies to see that they can be successful roping. When you have the likes of Larry D. Guy and Jackie Crawford and those, they can be just as successful as a roper. They don't just have to be a barrel racer. They have another avenue, and I think it's great.
Well, and it's always been that way. It's just that, you know,
it wasn't really publicized.
Yeah, but the breakaway is not a part of the PRCA.
No.
Okay. No. So it was never something that it just came up. So, which is fine. Like I said, that's okay. Whatever they do, that's all good. But that goes back to the next thing, is dreaming is what you want to do. All right. So the gentleman that created the 4D or 3D or whatever the D division in the barrel racing is a genius. That guy's a genius. Because now you can go and barrel race and your horse doesn't run. He's maybe a half a second off the best horse or whatever their division is, and still win a check. So it keeps you going because you enjoy your sport. You enjoy barrel racing. Right. So those associations they have that they've created, you know, I can't name them, but man, there's lots of places you can go run barrels. And that's huge, where, you know, the breakaway's tough. Now, that's the next thing people got to understand. It's tough. And everyone has to remember about rodeo. We're gamblers.
Oh, absolutely.
These are gamblers. These guys do everything you can to get all the odds in your favor every single time. Okay, it's not about, well, I went there and I enjoyed it. That's not what rodeo is about. You're putting your money up and saying, I'm better than you, and you go at it. And that's what people don't understand. When you go somewhere, well, I've kind of taught my kids that the other day. We were running some steers, and I told them, I said, okay, if I ocean wave this steer and catch him by 2 horns, you guys got to buy me a steak dinner, my wife. Colleen and I, a steak dinner. And they're all like, okay, yeah, all right. Because they're young. They know who I am, but they don't know what I'm capable of. So, and then I said, if I miss, I'll take you all to supper. We'll all go to supper tonight. Yes, we're going to do it. They're all excited, which they should be. But it's a chance. Well, I go and I ocean wave him when I catch him. And they're all like, oh, they're just like, well, I come back and I said, well, I did that to teach you something. I said, do you think I was going to bet something that I didn't think that I could do? I said, I know I can do that. So I want you to understand, each one of you should have that same confidence when you go and compete, go to school, whatever you do. I have this confidence that I can do this. Now, I was willing to take the consequences. If I missed, I'm going to buy you supper. I'm willing to take that consequence. It doesn't scare me. But the odds are in my favor because I know I can do it. I said, that's rodeo. That's what we're learning out here. So when you go to your college rodeos or anywhere you go, you have the confidence that you can win. You're looking around. You don't have to worry about what anybody does. You know what you can do. So it was a good lesson for them, and I won't make them pay. But it was a lesson to them to understand that, listen, you guys, and I tell them this when they come to school. I said, you guys are good, but you weren't as good as I was. You weren't as good as what I did when I was 15 and stuff. And it's not, I'm not bragging. It's a fact, you know.
I know it's a fact because I know a guy who knew you when you were that age and talked about you.
Yeah, and so it's just like, so when I'm telling this, it's I have no, I don't have any other venue that I'm going but to teach these kids, to try to show them some things that you can do the same thing, you know, and are you willing as we go forward to gamble on that, going, yeah, I can do that.
You know, that takes me back. I can remember I had said after Dad passed away that if he had ever collected on all the malts and shakes he bet kids roping over the years, you know, he might have been more than 150 pounds. But I mean, he always did that. He's like, all right, we'll go head for head. We'll bet, you know. And his was the same theory. It's going to make you better. Better
competition makes you better.
Absolutely.
But to do that, you have to have confidence in what you're doing. And if you do that, then that's a learning experience. You know, we always talk about what we win or what we did, but we don't ever talk about how we lost. You lose way more than you win to get to where you're at. Everybody does.
Oh,
you know? So they talk about billionaires. How many times does a guy go broke before he makes his billion? But he's not afraid to take the chance. You know, so this is in all realms of life. You know, so with these kids, it's been fun with them, getting their confidence built up, you know, and watching them grow. So it's a lot of fun.
I bet. Well, the kids are very lucky to have you, and I'm sure that the youth around here are going to be wanting to come to school here at Sheridan College, not wanting to go somewhere else now. So,
well, we want to build a legacy. You know, we want kids to come here to know they're going to get a quality education at Sheridan College, which it is. They're really behind us, you know, to get more kids in each event. I mean, we'll get them growing. Things will grow. It takes time. It's not going to be the first year or second year. We're going to grow. But, you know, I want to build a dynasty here. And you know, this is home to me, you know, growing up at the ranch, you know, went to high school in Gillette but this is home too. You know, I knew as many people here as I knew in Gillette. So this was, and when I put my name in for this hat, I wouldn't put it in for anywhere else. And I told him that. I said, this is my only place I want to coach. I'm not looking to coach anywhere.
Right.
But if I can coach here, I'll come here. So it wasn't like I was wanting to coach anywhere, because that's not it. I wanted to come here when it came available. So tickled to death where we're at and what's going on.
Well, I think that from what I've heard, everybody's happy to have you here. And I think it will be a great addition to not just Sheridan College, but the Sheridan community.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, rodeo, the YO is a big deal. We went to it forever. You know, it's a big thing. So we want to grow. You know, we got some ideas that are coming out for our college rodeo, the 26th through the 28th of September. We got a few new things that we're going to do. I won't say yet till we get them kind of down for sure, but some exciting things for the community to come and watch and be a part of it and grow it, you know, because Non-King Days is over. And when we were at Non-King Days last fall, some people drove in to watch it and they're like, well, where's a rodeo at? When, you know, we're going to be out here a month. We would like to see a rodeo. Well, we have our rodeo, so people can start kind of looking, because, you know, it's really nice right at that time of the year.
Oh, it is.
Or it can rain, which is a good fall rain, which is not a bad thing. But
I timed one year, and it was like timing at the high school rodeo. It was muddy and nasty, and then it was the next year was beautiful.
Yeah,
so
like this year was beautiful. You couldn't ask for a better weekend. You know, it was plumb beautiful. But so it's really good. And watching these kids, you know, they're just, it's kind of funny. It's one step away from high school rodeo, but now they're kind of on their own and having to learn to deal with. You know, I tell them all the time, Mom and Dad ain't here to saddle your horse. You saddle your horse. You clean your mess up. You're accountable for these things now. It's just kind of our first step in growing up, you know, so it's really fun. It's good.
Good. Now, you guys have a fundraiser event coming up here in March, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, the fundraiser is March 8th at the Dome. The tables, you know, you can buy a table or a seat, and it sells out pretty fast. I don't know how many's available left, you know, but it's we got a lot of new people, you know, coming in, sponsors that I've known that want to support our program up here. We're really excited. You know, it's just a good time. I know the whole kids and the employees around the school are excited. They talk about it all the time. So, you know, I'm excited to see it for the first time. And you know, we create the money, the foundation, we create it for our rodeo scholarship. So it's a big deal to get these kids coming in. And, you know, like I said, the phone's been ringing off the wall. You know, before I was even named the coach, kids were calling because they heard I was going to be here. We couldn't, you know, I couldn't do anything till after the first year.
Right. And
then, so there's a lot of verbals that have committed to coming, and then we can't sign till March 1st with our letter of intents. And, you know, we just keep growing as we go along. We'll leave some spots. I'm not really limiting it at anything right now. You know, my thought is, well, like I said, I have no other venue to do. I'm done rodeoing. We run the ranch in the summertime with yearlings, and then this is what we're doing. So I really don't want to turn any kids away at all. And any kids that want to learn how to rope or ride broncs because that's what I'm here for. You know, to help them, to get them going and see if they want to do it. So, you know, we're looking at building new stalls out there. It's exciting. We got hopefully 40 new stalls, covered stalls with runs that we're going to build.
Oh, wow.
They're working on that. They're looking into that right now. So there's a lot of things going on that these kids coming in, they're excited. And, you know, the big thing is word of mouth. So after the first year, you know, the kids that were here now, the word of mouth has brought these other 20 kids in. You know, just word of mouth, them telling them how much they enjoyed it and what was going on.
Making plans for building a new barn, shop, or commercial building? Don't do any planning without a call to Sheridan's premier post-frame building and homes builder, True Built Builders, online at truebuiltbuilders.com.
And then, you know, the biggest thing I tell a lot of kids too is, you know, make sure when you come here it fits. Make sure the school fits. I'm going to teach you how to rope. I'm going to get the people to help you in the rough stock. Goat tying. I've talked to Jordan Thurston Miller about coming up a little bit and helping. You know, they always ask me, well, you got an assistant yet? Well, I'm kind of just waiting to see how things go before I do anything like that. I have to have somebody that's been around me that knows how I teach, how I do things. So they already know how. So, you know, that's in the future, but I just want these kids to make sure they have a good experience when they go to school. Like I said, I'll teach them how to rope. I'll teach them how to be a cowboy, cowgirl. But then I also tell them, listen, if there's another fit for you at another school, that's okay. Don't think that I hold any animosity. I'm still going to help you because that's how I am. Right. You know, I want you to get the education. It's just if you don't come, that's okay. But what I don't want you to do is go somewhere else and then say, well, we want to come back, because now you got to set out rodeos and stuff. You know, the eligibility and stuff you do is such a different deal. But it's all good. These kids, you know, the only thing that I don't really like much is the phones. You know, I love the phones for what we can do, but when we practice, you know, we have a rule. You put your phones up. When we practice, you can't have them. I'm the only one that can have a phone. Then when you're done, go get them. If there's something emergency, they know how to get a hold of me, but put your phone down, put your time in, and then go do your deal. You know, learn to do that. So, and it's hard because they are glued to those phones.
The dedication and the time, you have to put it in, and having this in your hand doesn't do that. Well,
and what they've learned with me is this is a passion. Anything you do is a passion. Your cattle, you guys are doing is a passion. Your dad with horses and roping was a passion. My passion was rodeo. I love roping. I love horses. I love the cowboy way of life. We talk about the technologies people knows on computers. Those are passions because they enjoy it. So if you have a passion with something, it's easier to do. If you don't have the passion and you're trying to do it, you're never happy.
And you never get to that next level.
Yeah.
You just are average.
Yeah. Well, and I always like ranchers. You know, you take a rancher, look at their dedication, and ranch women, ranch families, to calve, to brand, to, you know, blizzards, to droughts. I mean, you do it because you love it. And that's what Mom did, and our family, you know, our ranch been in our family over 100 and some years. We love it. I love that ranch, love being out there, but it's got to be a passion. Rodeo is a passion to me, a passion. So that's why I was so successful, is because it was a passion.
You know, you talk about that, and I think back, and people always ask Dad, and Dad loved rodeo, you know that, but his passion was the training and the teaching. And I see that with you too, the rodeo, the teaching, the passing that knowledge on. To this younger generation.
Well, you know, I went to my first calf roping school with your dad, and we went to Billy Denz's, and Brian McCarty, and some of them were there, and those calves were so big. But he taught me how to flank, and, you know, I went up there, I was young. I was too small really to go. But, you know, and growing up, watching your dad and Butch Jacobs and Frank Irvin and Neil Boley and all these guys, Bobby King, and everyone that rodeoed in this country, you know, and you see them. And so it's just like with me, when I roped, you know, kids see it, and now they're roping.
Right.
You know? Right. So it just goes on and on and on, you know. Biggest thing, you know, I can tell a lot of these kids out there is when an older guy's talking to you, listen, pay attention, because one day they won't be there, and you'll be like, oh, because with Mom passing away, I'd ask her, well, who was that person? And she'd just tell me, well, now I got to go figure it out myself. So
I do the same thing. I'm like, oh man, I wish Dad was here. He could tell me, you know.
Yeah. So all that stuff, you know, comes around with this whole community, you know, and we'll know a lot of people, know, you know, from Bighorn to Ranchester to out at Otter Creek, you know, Dave Bliss and that family. Grow up around them, so we just knew a lot of people. The Canes, you know, Ken Kane when I was a kid was roping everywhere, and then all the other ones now. So it's just, you know, it's nice up here because it's somewhat like a home, you know. Sheridan was always my hometown rodeo forever. You know? Right. So they would know it. So, you know.
Yeah, speaking of Kenny Kane, I saw a picture. Dad has a picture of them roping at Las Vegas. Yeah. And Kenny Kane was the same size as Dad. Yeah. And I never knew Kenny that. I mean, he was always a bigger man when I knew him. But, you know, and it's funny, there's the youth now, they don't know who my dad was, or Kenny, or any of those guys of that age. You know, your guys' age now is the ones that they're looking up to. You're those guys now that those guys were to you.
Well, what happens is with that is a lot of kids don't know who I am, which is fine. I don't have no problem with that. But what goes on is now the phones are so big. You know, they see it, and then, you know, they see the, I don't even know. You know, I guess the way I like to say this is the nostalgia. They don't know the history, the nostalgia of rodeo, where I did. You know, growing up, I knew all who they were. I could name them, look for them, go see them. Well, now it's just a different time. You know, they're so consumed with their own rope and then just the recent guys, which is okay. Like I say, I don't have any problem with any of that. It's just changes. You know, you think just like no different I did. You know, you meet some guys when you're in the heat of the battle that were really good cowboys, and you may not pay attention then. And then later on in my life, I go, oh, I met that guy. I remember that guy. And he was a really good cowboy, because you see some things going on, you know, so. It's you just gotta, when it's your time, it's your time. When your time's over, it's like anything else. You just gotta rock and roll and keep going and do what you do, you know. So it's just the way life is.
You know, I felt really fortunate. I took Dad to Vegas for the Gold Card reunion. Oh yeah. And was able to meet Bob Ragsdale, Jack Roddy, Dean Oliver, you know, those guys. And I mean, and I'd heard about them my whole life. You know, those were Dad's friends back in the day. And so it was really fun for me to be able to do that. Yeah. You ask somebody now who Bob Ragsdale was, and they're going to be like, who? You know?
Well, yeah.
And then that's okay. It's just, it evolves and it changes.
Yeah. Well, and that's just, it's no different than, you know, it's so funny when they want to talk about the era of these basketball players, Michael Jordan to LeBron to whatever. Well, rodeo's the same. You have your guys that were great in their era.
Absolutely.
Okay? And you can't put one guy over all them other ones because you weren't in their time frame or they weren't in your time frame.
Right.
So you were good at your time. It's just like in my time of my rodeoing, Clay O'Brien Cooper won more championships than anybody, but I had great guys that roped, and I was lucky enough to win a world's championship in that era. Then you move to the next era, and Rich Skelton and Speedy Williams won 8 of them in a row. Okay, and then after that, then you got, you know, like Clay Tryon and Jade Corkill, and so it just moves, you know, and everyone says, like with Trevor, well, we'll never see another Trevor. Well, you can't say that. Because, you know, what they don't understand about Trevor is yes, he won his all-arounds, but he also won, between his all-arounds and his steer roping, that's the majority of his world's championships. And he grew up as a steer roper. His dad was a steer roper. So he took his major event and won 7 or 8 world's championships in the steer roping, 15 or so in the all-around, whatever it was, I can't really remember. And then he won a 1-team roping and then won a couple calf roping. So his 2 events were the steer roping and all around to make the all around. So when they say that, Guy Allen won 18 world's championships in one event. Well, how can you know, there's no one greater than that. No one's done that in any event. You know, Jim Shoulders won 16 too, but he was in several different events. Guy Allen won it in one event and was reserve champion in 4 or 5 other years. So he's going to be 25 times world's champion if just a little change in one event. Now that's domination. So, you know, so you go along now and you got the Wright boys, you got the Frost boy won the bull riding, you got your PBR. It just changes. It just rolls with the tides. You have guys that come in and dominate and then they're gone, and then you'll have someone else that'll come in and dominate, and that's just the way it is.
Oh yeah.
Because the events change, the games changes. So it's really hard to say who the greatest was. The greatest in their era is the way I like to see it. You know, Dean Oliver, you talked about him. You know, there was not a greater calf roper at that time than Dean Oliver, but a lot of these kids wouldn't even know who Dean Oliver was. You know, Toots Mansfield, they don't even know who Toots Mansfield was. But so
my
anyways.
grandfather talked about him.
Yeah, so I'm just saying there's very different eras that you got to live with. That's what they do. Look at the Sheridan Bronx right now. Oh. Right? You can't beat them in football or basketball, right? So I went to school in Gillette. We couldn't beat anybody. And then when that deal changed, how long did they go that they didn't get beat? And then how many years did everyone, Cheyenne Central or East or Casper, Kelly Walsh, and, you know, they would dominate, you know, but like what they're doing special. Yeah. You know, really special. So that's awesome. And Bighorn. Oh. You know, Bighorn too. It's just amazing. This little area is just dominating so well. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Well, and pretty quick, Sheridan College Rodeo is going to be dominating.
That's the plan. That's exactly what we're going to do. So, you know, it just takes time to get your programs going, and once everyone buys into them, and you know, that's what they always talk about, coaching, buying into the system. Well, they have to buy into what we're doing, because we do it a certain way. We don't have a variation on very many things. We do it one way. We do it the right way.
Right. Well, Bobby, thank you so much for being here today. I know you got to get back out and get to going, but I really appreciate you taking the time. And be sure to attend the scholarship fundraiser on March 8th.
Yes.
You can get tickets by calling the college, correct?
Yeah, you know, I'm not real good on that info stuff.
Okay.
My wife handles that, but yes, that'd be a good place to start, and it'll be a great time. Everyone, like I said, they're excited, and, you know, the community's stepped up, and, you know, we want to be the best rodeo program in our region, and then we want to be one of the best ones in the nation. You know, we've got high standards that we expect. You know, and I told these kids that, you know, whether you ever reach them or not, that's okay. It's the idea of what you're trying to do. Right. You know, and that's what we're trying to do. And if we can get that done, then you can be a part of it, you know. So we're excited, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You bet. Well, we'll have you back again.
Okay.
But yes, to get your tickets for the fundraiser. It's always a great time, great dinner. I always spend way too much on the silent auction. They have a live auction. So it's a great time. So thank you for being here. We'll have you back. And be sure to check out SheridanMedia.com for more news, sports, and podcasts. And thanks again to our sponsors, Heartland Kubota and True Built Builders.